Have you ever wondered what the worst-case scenario for our planet really looks like? Forget asteroids and aliens. The gravest threats may be the ones we create ourselves. Nuclear winter and climate tipping points aren't just science fiction. They're real risks that scientists study, yet most people barely know they exist. We talk about climate change, but rarely about the true points of no return, or the chilling reality of a world plunged into darkness and cold by our own actions. Imagine a world where the sun is a faint glow, summers freeze, and food is a daily struggle, or a coastline battered by storms so immense they reshape the land. These scenarios, one from conflict, one from environmental neglect, are humanity's ultimate survival test. Why discuss these grim possibilities? Because knowledge is power. Understanding these threats is the first step to preventing them. By facing these futures head-on, we can learn, adapt, and find solutions. This journey isn't about fear, it's about curiosity, responsibility, and hope. Let's explore the science of planetary-scale disasters and what's truly at stake. What exactly is a nuclear winter? It's not just a big explosion. It's a global catastrophe triggered by firestorms from nuclear detonations. These firestorms send millions of tons of black soot into the stratosphere, where it spreads worldwide, blocking sunlight. The result? A dim, twilight world, even at noon, with temperatures dropping by more than 10 degrees Celsius. Summers vanish, crops freeze. The planet enters a cold, dark state that could last for years, maybe a decade. The sky turns gray, sea ice expands, and snow reflects what little sunlight remains, making things even colder. A feedback loop called the ice albedo effect. Plants die, ecosystems collapse, and food chains break down. The indirect effects, global famine, mass extinction, could be far worse than the bombs themselves. Nuclear winter is a chilling reminder. The aftermath of conflict could threaten all life on Earth. It's not just about destruction. It's about a world fundamentally changed, hostile to survival. Understanding this risk is essential for our future. Now, let's turn from cold darkness to the fury of superstorms. Superstorms aren't just bigger hurricanes, they're weather monsters fueled by a warming planet and hotter oceans. As oceans absorb more heat, storms intensify, drawing on extra energy and moisture, unleashing record-breaking winds and catastrophic floods. Climate tipping points, like the collapse of major ocean currents, could trigger even more extreme storms, reshaping continents and flooding cities. Imagine hurricanes with 200-mile-per-hour winds, storm surges of 40 feet, and rainfall measured in feet, not inches. These storms could render entire regions uninhabitable, overwhelming our infrastructure and way of life. Superstorms are nature's response to a planet out of balance, a future we're racing toward unless we act. The scale of destruction is almost unimaginable, but it's a risk we can't ignore. Our choices today will determine if these storms remain rare or become the new normal. Climate tipping points are the dominoes of our planet. Push one too far, and a cascade of irreversible changes begins. The melting of Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets is one such domino. Once melting becomes self-sustaining, sea levels could rise by meters, redrawing coastlines. The Amazon rainforest is another. If deforestation and warming push it past a threshold, it could transform into savanna, releasing vast carbon stores and collapsing biodiversity. The Arctic's permafrost holds twice as much carbon as the atmosphere. As it thaws, it releases greenhouse gases, fueling more warming and more thaw, a dangerous feedback loop. These aren't slow changes, they're abrupt, planet-altering shifts. Each tipping point amplifies the next, pushing Earth into a hotter, less stable state. The risk isn't just environmental, it's existential. Once these dominoes fall, there's no going back. Understanding and avoiding these thresholds is critical for our survival. The time to act is before the first domino tips. Our window to prevent runaway change is closing fast. What would life look like after a nuclear winter or climate collapse? Picture a world where the sun is a faint memory, days are perpetual twilight, and cold is relentless, even in summer. Crops die, rivers freeze, and homes become icy shelters. Survival means scavenging for food, burning anything for warmth, and facing constant threats of hypothermia. Society as we know it collapses. Governments fall, services vanish, and people form small groups to survive. Every day is a struggle for shelter, water, and food. The global supply chains we depend on are gone. For animals and plants, the collapse is even more severe. Photosynthesis fails, food webs unravel, and mass extinction sweeps the planet. The world becomes barren, lonely, and hostile. A stark reminder of how quickly civilization can unravel. The intricate web of life, built over eons, could be torn apart in just a few years. This is the ultimate cost of planetary-scale disaster. In any catastrophe, food and water systems are the first to break. Nuclear winter means instant agricultural collapse. No corn, wheat, or rice. Stored food becomes priceless, sparking conflict and desperation. Even without nuclear war, climate tipping points could trigger similar crises. Failed monsoons or relentless heat waves could wipe out harvests and cause global famine. Water becomes just as scarce. In nuclear winter, rivers freeze, and melting ice for water is energy-intensive and risky due to contamination. In a world of superstorms, floods contaminate water supplies, spreading disease. Daily life shrinks to survival, finding fuel, scavenging for food, purifying water, and defending against other desperate survivors. Jobs and careers vanish. Survival is the only priority. The comfortable, interconnected world we know is replaced by a brutal, primitive reality. Every day is a fight for the basics. The systems we take for granted can vanish almost overnight. Our resilience depends on how well we prepare now. Why don't we hear about nuclear winter and climate tipping points every day? The scale is overwhelming, the science complex, and the consequences terrifying, so we tune out. News prefers immediate, relatable stories, not abstract global risks. Scientific uncertainty is exploited by skeptics, making it easy for leaders to delay action. These threats challenge our sense of progress and security, forcing us to confront uncomfortable truths about our own technology. Political leaders often avoid long-term risks in favor of short-term gains. There's also psychic numbing. Our brains struggle to process threats this vast, so we focus on daily concerns instead. But ignoring these risks only makes them more likely. Breaking through this barrier starts with awareness and honest conversation. These futures aren't inevitable. We have choices. Preventing nuclear winter starts with diplomacy and disarmament, reducing arsenals, strengthening treaties, and supporting peaceful conflict resolution. To avoid climate tipping points, we must rapidly shift to renewable energy, end fossil fuel subsidies, and invest in green technology. Individual choices matter. Conserving energy, changing consumption, and demanding strong climate policies all send a powerful message. We must also build resilience, develop crops that survive extremes, diversify food sources, and protect vulnerable cities. Preparation is our insurance policy. Our greatest hope lies in human ingenuity and cooperation. The same forces that created these risks can solve them. Education and public pressure are key. When people are informed, leaders act. Hope is an active choice, a commitment to work for a safer future. The time to act is now, before the window closes. Our legacy depends on the decisions we make today. We've explored the darkest scenarios: nuclear winter, climate collapse, and the fragility of our world. Ignoring these threats won't make them disappear. Understanding is the first step to action. Earth is a living system, and we're pushing its limits. The science is clear. We can't afford to wait. The responsibility is shared. Scientists, leaders, and every one of us. We must think in generations, not just election cycles. This is our only home. The warning lights are flashing. The future is unwritten. Let's choose to face these challenges with courage, wisdom, and responsibility. The story of humanity's survival will be written by the choices we make, starting now.